Okay, now we're going to do the second problem, the statement of cash flows. Okay, data analysis problem. So again, I haven't looked at this, so this will be fun to do it together. Okay, statement of cash flows. Completing this activity will help you learn to determine cash flows for operating, investing, and financing activities. Okay, so company provides accounting services to small business clients. Each client is assigned one of six of the company's professional staff members. The staff members prepare their clients' financial statements, including statement of cash flows using the indirect method. Assume buying and selling assets, issuing stock, and paying dividends are all cash transactions. And this is probably a very realistic sheet to have. So let's look at this. We have the company, the staff member, company's net income, depreciation, gain or sale on loss, or gain or loss on sale of an asset. Cool. As we remember, we go through this, right? If we're doing our operating expenses, we take our net income, add back in all of our depreciation and amortization, make adjustments for working capital based on, make adjustments for the gain or sale of an asset, gain or loss on the sale of an asset. And it'll be the opposite, right? If we have a gain, we're going to subtract that off of our operating cash. If it's a loss, we're going to add it. Let's see, now we have our working capital changes. So changes in accounts receivable, inventory, prepaid, insurance. So all of these assets. If we have an asset and we think about if our asset increases, our cash went down. Okay. Then we have our liabilities, accounts payable, wages payable. If our liability goes up, our cash goes up, right? And so we make those adjustments off of our net income, and that gives us our cash flow from operations. Then we look at our investing. So so we sell investments. Cool, that gives us cash. We purchase investments or equipment, plant, property, equipment is all investments, right? Cash flow from investing activities. Our cash will go down. Sounds good. Financing activities, we issue stock, cash goes up. We pay dividends, cash goes down. So cool. So here it looks like it's going to have us calculate our cash flow from operating, investing, financing activities. Total changes in cash flow. Great. Okay, so key 4, enter formula results in cash flow from operating activities. Great. So we know how to do this. So operating activities, right? We start out with our net income. So our net income, we add back in our depreciation. Boom. Then we have our gains or losses on sale of assets. So if it's a gain, we are going to subtract that. Now we look at our changes. So any of our changes in our asset accounts and our balance sheet, if it goes up for an asset, then our cash went down, right? So we're going to do minus that, minus that, minus that. And then for our liability accounts, if it goes up, we actually have our cash goes up if our liability goes up. So plus that, plus that. Oops. Let's fix that one. There we go. And that should be everything. There we go. So let's check this. Make sure we didn't have a sign wrong. That's the biggest risk here is that you're going to get a sign wrong. Okay, good. We had our signs right in our formula. Okay, Q4, and their formula results in cash flow from investing activities. So cash flow from investing activities, this should be pretty easy. We don't have that many. So if we sell investments, that's a positive. And if we buy investments, it's going to be a negative on our cash. There we go. Check it, make sure we got our signs right. Okay. R4, and their formula results in cash flow from financing activities. Okay. Financing is easy, right? We issue stock or we pay dividends. Positive if we issue stock and negative if we pay dividends. There you go. S4, and their formula results in an increase or decrease in the cash amount. Okay. Our total cash amount. So this is just an easy sum, right? So we're just going to sum up those three. There we go. 113. That's for mine. Yours is going to be different numbers, obviously. Okay. T4, use an if function to return a 1 for a cash outflow or a 0 for a cash inflow. Okay. If that is greater than 0, then return a 1. Wait, am I reading that right? 1 for cash outflow, actually. So it's going to be if it's less than 0, return a 1. Otherwise, return a 0. Okay. Make sure I had that right. If, okay, return a 1 for cash outflow. So if we have a negative number, it's going to return a 1 or a 0 for a cash inflow. It doesn't say what to do if it's 0. If we have a net cash, use T4, use an if statement to return a 1 for a cash outflow. If statement to return a 1 for a cash outflow or a 0 for a cash inflow. Cash outflow. Oh, look at this for investing activities. Oh my goodness. See, that's why you have to read carefully. It's just looking for investing activities. Okay, there we go. So it's just looking at this Q column. Okay, okay, copy down the cells. So we highlight all these and we copy them down. I got lucky there that investing gave me a different answer than my total cash flow. So okay, Q1. Oh, now I have to create my pivot table. Oh, we love creating pivot tables. Okay, so insert a pivot table. Oh, look at this. Okay. I always do a new tab, just makes it nice and clean. Okay. Which staff person had the highest amount of stock issuances for their clients combined? Interesting. Okay, so I am looking for which staff person had the highest amount of stock issuances for their clients. So I'm going by staff member for sure. And stock issuances. There you go. Now this is a little tricky, right? Highest amount of stock issuances. I think it's looking for the sum here. Okay, so we could look, and that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to say equals the max. So give me the max of these. Okay, that's going to be the highest one. Okay, and then here equals the we're going to do VLOOKUP. Okay, um, see if I can remember how to do this. Okay, value to be found. Oh wait. Okay, so I'm looking for B14 in this array. Okay, and then I want to return. Let's see if I can do this my first try. I haven't used VLOOKUP in a while. Huh? Ugh, messed up. Let's try again. And yes, you could just look at this and say it's Nora Rodriguez. I know this. Okay. But I want to use the VLOOKUP. Maybe it's XLOOKUP. Maybe that's what the problem is. Yes, that's what it was. It's XLOOKUP instead of VLOOKUP that I should be using. So there we go. So yes, I know when we have like 6 staff members, it's not that hard. But if we had like 30 of them, that would be a big deal. Okay. Oh, Nora Rodriguez right there. Okay. What was Chakotto Inc.'s beginning cash balance if its ending cash balance was 1430? Okay. Now we just have to get rid of all this and start our new pivot table. Let's see. Get rid of that. What was Dakota Inc.'s beginning cash balance if its ending cash balance was 14,530? Okay. So it's beginning cash balance. That's interesting. So okay, I'm just gonna look at the company. I'm just gonna filter for the company because I know I'm just gonna look at um Co Cocado. Cocado. They couldn't use Coca-Cola, so it's Cocado. Okay, so I'm just looking at Cocado and I want to look at their okay, so if they started out with 14,530, so they started out with 14,530 and they had that change in cash. So they went down 9,000, so they must have started out at 23,000. Wow, that was not even needing a pivot table, but all I used the pivot table for was to quickly look up um, that information of what company I was looking for. It was the original cost of the investment that Brainerd Corporation sold this year. So I want to know the initial cost of their investment. So we're just going to look at Brainerd. Okay. And I am looking at they sold an investment, right? And so I need to know what they sold, like um, some of sales and investment, but that's not all I have to worry about. What was the original cost? So we need to know both what they sold, and we also need to know if there was a gain or a loss on the sale. So there we go. So they sold investments worth 200,000. They had a loss of 5,000. So we should be able to just look at this and figure out what it was. Hopefully, I got my sign right again. Okay. Oh, still something wrong. Okay, so they had a sum of gain or loss on the sale of investment. So this was a sale. So sale was sum of sale 200,000, but they had a loss of 5,000. So they sold. Oh, that's not what they got. It wasn't that they received 200,000. That was probably what or maybe they did. They received. See how it's worded again. What was the original cost? Okay, so yeah, so the original cost. So they received 200,000, but they lost 5,000, right? So we can actually say that it would be the 200,000 plus the 5,480. So it would be that. Now this is a little weird though because it's not taking into account depreciation. So I actually don't think this is the right number, but I don't remember seeing a column for depreciation on here. So maybe we'll have to look. So they don't have a depreciation. So obviously, whatever this investment was not a depreciable investment. But that's what it was. This was the amount that they actually received, and then we have to add in to get the original cost. We have to add in the loss. If you had a gain there, then you would actually subtract the gain. Okay, that was interesting. Okay. Again, I just want to point out this was a non-depreciated investment. So you would actually have another number if you were doing something where it had depreciated over time because you'd have to do the book value that you'd be calculating. So in real life, that's something you'd have to consider. Okay, Q4. How many of Rado and Overman's clients combined had a net cash outflow from investing activities during the year? Okay, this is going to be cool. So we're going to first start by changing our filter. So we want, or I want Rado and Overman. Oh, actually, I'm wrong. We don't want company. We want staff members. We're going to sort by staff member, and we just want Rado. and Overman as our staff members that we're sorting by. Okay, now what we can do, see, we can list all the companies that those guys two have. So that's the count of all their companies. Or we can add their companies rows if we want. Ooh, what did I do? All right. So anyhow, so this is how many companies they have each. So Rado and Overman. We want to know how many of Rado and Overman's clients combined had a net cash outflow from investing activities. So that's why we needed that last one, that new column we created, which was investing cash outflow. We can put that in there and have that count or have that sum. So that sum of investing cash outflows is just adding up. If we go over this column that we created, so it's just taking I filtered, so it just gave from those two staff members or salespeople, and then I'm just summing up how many ones do they have. So that's why we created that column. So this should be it. Cool. I hope this was helpful. I never do the last question for you. You can figure I want to give you a chance to read those. I hope this was helpful and have a wonderful day.